So I've already edited all of the videos that I currently have slated for release, so that means it's about time for another monster manual. And once again, that means we are returning to the roulette wheel. The number of pie slices on this particular roulette wheel has drastically been reduced. We're running low, but we still have some monster manuals to go over. And hopefully whichever one gets picked will be worthy of this smile. Alright, who are we gonna get this time? Are you serious? Are you actually legitimately serious right now? Just got done editing the My Godzilla Dream roster, SSB roster review video, and I mentioned in that video that it could not possibly be that the roulette wheel picks Fire Rodan for the next monster manual. And yet, here we are. Fire Rodan is today's monster manual. And yes, I know this picture does not depict Fire Rodan, but instead the Final Wars edition of Rodan. This is art by Matt Frank. It's the only art of Rodan that's good enough to have saved on my computer at all times, so you can blame Matt for being a good artist. I guess we're knocking out the characters in the demo. So before I go over the monster manual, I'll do what I typically do, and I'll give my thoughts on the character as they are in the version 0.01 demo of Save the Earth Melee, which I do have and have played. Obviously, this was not planned, so I haven't played the demo recently and particularly honed my skills with Fire Rodan. I'll be honest, I'm kind of at a loss for things to say here. Rodan has never been one of the characters in even the vanilla Save the Earth that I was particularly interested in. I'm pretty sure I've only ever played Fire Rodan when I've had to. In all likelihood, I'm probably never going to play Fire Rodan. Even within Godzilla Save the Earth Melee, I'll probably just stick with the Showa Rodan because the playstyle seems like it's going to be something more akin to what I enjoy. In that Moist Critical highlight video that I've referred to at various points across my numerous videos, he makes a very good point in comparing Fire Rodan to Sonic the Hedgehog within the competitive Super Smash Bros. Arena. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that's an apt comparison, and that's probably why I don't really enjoy Fire Rodan within this game, because he's very much a hit-and-run character. He's very much a glass cannon that gets chopped down very easily by anything that's particularly strong. Fire Rodan is also much like Sonic in that anything remotely competitive involving Fire Rodan seems like it devolves into a game of cat and mouse. But yeah, I'm just not looking forward to Fire Rodan. They've definitely made him visually more interesting, because he has like a flaming, I don't really know how to put it, like a flaming coat, like a flaming trench coat. There's always an active flame on his body, which is obviously technically not accurate to the movie he's from, but I think is better and befits the Fire Rodan title. But yeah, I'm not really looking forward to Fire Rodan. Fire Rodan in the vanilla Save the Earth, as well as Destroy All Monsters Melee and Godzilla Unleashed, was really more so a stand-in, I feel, for the Showa Rodan anyway. So in this way, I do consider Save the Earth Melee's version of Fire Rodan to be more accurate to the character which it is supposed to be. But like I said, I have never been a fan of the character in any of the Pipeworks games, so they're gonna have to put in a lot of work to make me really like the character in this. Which is why we're reading the Monster Manual, because who knows, there might be some hidden gems in here. Alright, I'm gonna read the bio, even though I don't anticipate there's gonna be anything interesting in it. It's a little odd. They usually tend to fill in the blanks for how the character managed to reappear after the original film that it was in, and Fire Rodan dies in the original Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. So it's kind of interesting that they leave out any explanation for that. I mean, they're obviously not required to have an explanation for that. I just find it odd, because I've read enough monster manuals at this point to notice that discrepancy. Okay, never mind. They did kind of sort of explain that this is another Rodan from the same island as in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. Which, I mean, that's perfectly serviceable. Okay, time for gameplay. Yeah, the combo game of Fire Rodan, at least from that Moist Critical highlight montage of several videos from the Nasty Soft channel, looks kind of disgusting. Although I imagine many of those kind of like pseudo infinites probably are going to be patched by the time we get the first major release of Godzilla Save the Earth Melee. All of his punches are beak attacks, which, if I remember correctly, when I played him in the demo, I didn't really find those very good. It wasn't really interesting. I don't know if that's the animation's fault, or the sound, or what. It's probably just the fact that Fire Rodan is supposed to be smaller than the Showa Rodan. And like I said, I just am not really drawn to that kind of thing. These games have always really appealed to me in the moments where you just thunderously punch another kaiju and just level a whole city block in the process, and Fire Rodan doesn't really seem to fit that kind of gameplay loop. Well, that's interesting. I didn't notice that the beak jabs are heavy flinch jabs instead of light flinch jabs. I guess that is an interesting way of differentiating him. Magma breath, is that a new thing? I assume it is, because I don't remember that in the movie. Sometimes infuriating to deal with. Always the best fighting game character archetype. Yeah, he's got a low health pool and a low damage output. I don't know what the average health is for monsters in this game, but he only has 500 and his power is relatively low. And he has an incredibly low utility score. Basically, Fire Rodan seems like he's good for one thing and one thing only, and that's being annoying and just whittling your health down as fast as they can, and if they can't do that, they're basically screwed. Okay, now for the skins. Some of the moveset description includes references to other skins, but I don't remember all of them. Alright, moment of truth. It's actually less skins than I thought he had. The revised model looks so good. Frost Rodan. I wonder if that means there's going to be like a snowfall or snowflake particle effect that replaces the fire on the normal model. Female Rodan. Oh, based on concept art. You know, now that you mention it, I do vaguely recall there being a female Rodan in concept art for Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. It might just be a recolor, but Red Proto looks pretty good. Oh, Rodan 1993? So it's not just the Fire Rodan skin, it's also got the normal Rodan skin. I really like that. Rodan 2019 is a skin for Fire Rodan. As I mentioned in the King Ghidorah video, I think, this does make me wonder though about the size discrepancy, because I do believe Rodan 2019 is more akin to the Showa Rodan in terms of comparative size with Showa Godzilla. But, I mean, it makes sense to have that version of Rodan on Fire Rodan just based on the fact that Rodan has a lot of fire effects in King of the Monsters 2019. And they've got the Save the Earth Classic model. That does raise a question. Why does he not have the Destroy All Monsters Melee model too? Are they just not different enough? Because I would say that a lot of the monsters that have both tend to be very similar, so why not Rodan, I guess would be my question. Alright, here comes the fun part. I will scour the pages of Wikizilla to see if there's anything on here that I can recommend as a skin. If I recall correctly, there were 5 open spots. Well, this is going to be rather short. Maybe not that short. Going to the anime trilogy for anything is always a sure sign that you're really starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel for content. I tend to remember most Godzilla monsters' names, and I just picked one for a potential skin that I don't even really know the name of. And yes, I'm talking about the one from the anime trilogy that I mentioned a second ago, so you probably already know which one that is. Okie dokie. Alright, let's start off with something positive that I would probably enjoy seeing. This is one of the concept arts for Rodan, not Fire Rodan, but just normal Rodan within Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. I don't think this is a skin for Showa Rodan, and given that they have a normal Rodan skin for Fire Rodan based on the way it was as just normal Rodan in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 in Godzilla Save the Earth Melee, I could see this one being a skin. It's basically the blue skin, and it seems like all of Fire Rodan's current skins are either red or some variation of red, and it would be nice to have some kind of diversity that isn't the Showa Rodan skin diversity, which is just dumping an entire can of paint onto Showa Rodan. But I could see this one. I'd probably enjoy seeing this one in there. This isn't so much a skin, but I saw this when I was going through Rodan's Wikizilla page. This is what is known as Chibi Rodan. I obviously don't think they would do a whole separate model for this, because that would be rather silly and pointless if you ask me. But I could see the color scheme being adapted adapted onto Fire Rodan. This is more of a bright, light orange kind of color palette with some yellows and stuff in there, so again, it would kind of diversify the color palette of Fire Rodan's current skins. The things I do for viewership. The singular point iteration of Rodan. This would require a totally new model, but considering how small the singular point iterations of Rodan are, it probably makes more sense to put them onto Fire Rodan than it does to put them onto Showa Rodan. And also, I've already stated at length how much I don't like Fire Rodan in these games, and I really don't like the Rodans in Godzilla Singular Point because they're absolute utter garbage. The moment I saw these guys was the moment I knew I was going to absolutely hate. Anyway, Singular Point Rodan. These are technically two different versions of the Singular Point iteration of Rodan. Apparently it has multiple forms, and actually now looking at it a little more closely, aside from having to hold back the vomit that's coursing up my windpipe, I can see why these are technically two different forms. Maybe just mesh them together? I don't know. I really don't know if it's deserving of two whole skins, but this would be a way to get that particular design into Godzilla Save the Earth Melee and give it far, far, far more reverence than it actually deserves. Two anime designs in a row. I think I'm gonna be sick. The Servum from the anime trilogy. I don't think you could do this as a model change necessarily, and it might not even make sense, honestly, but maybe a color palette that's inspired by the Servum. Considering that Fire Rodan is so small, this one might make sense on Fire Rodan. Its power set doesn't really match it, but I mean, they're taking liberties with the game as it is, so, you know. If they want to have anime representation in there, this could be a way to do that. Okay, let's hope that the anime designs didn't upset my stomach that much, because I'm gonna go get my dinner. Steak for dinner. And I sure as hell need it after going through two anime designs as potential skins for Rodan. And I tell you what, my girlfriend can cook a damn steak. Okay, so, closing thoughts. It is my utmost hope that the next time I try to play Fire Rodan in the demo for Godzilla Save the Earth Melee, that I don't hate him. I understand his importance to the Pipeworks series, which this is kind of a sorta kinda not so sequel to, and it is very much a mod of. But after going through that monster manual, I can pretty safely say I'm probably gonna stick with Showa Rodan and never really go back. Sorry, not sorry, it's just the way it is. Not really a whole lot more to say about him, really. I'm glad that they're going through the effort of differentiating two versions of Rodan, because I feel like that was the thing that the franchise needed and never did. Rodan isn't Godzilla, and so there's usually not as much clamor to have multiple versions of Rodan. So I guess kudos on that front, because at least there's that. I will never forgive the dev team, though, for making me suggest anime skins for Rodan. That is truly unforgivable. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Set the like button ablaze with fire with your uranium heat ray. I'm probably going to have a hard time with the comments, considering that all of them will sound as if they were written by Batra and Rodan at the same time. If anyone gets that reference or why that makes sense, kudos to you. It's a pretty skin-deep joke, but anyways, I will talk to you guys in the next Monster Manual review next Friday.